Happy New Year 2023. Welcome to Ultra Catalyst Podcast. My name is Stephen Nosek. We're going to get into today's very first, the inaugural podcast that we're launching in 2023. Now, the topic for today is the driving change that shifted my life completely. I went from here, my old self, down, depressed, dark, asshole, alcoholic, someone that's thriving, someone that's helping people, coaching, mentoring, loving, giving. Where did that all start? It all started with one small decision. Now, before we get into that, let me paint the picture. Let me tell you what I was experiencing, what kind of adversity I had. What was the state of mind that I had? Let me take you back about 5+ years ago. It was late one Friday night. I think it was probably about 10:30, 11 at night. We just got wrapped up having a family barbecue with a lot of friends and family. And this is something we do on a regular basis, like every single weekend. Now I was loading the kids into the car, half drunk, half asleep. And within a matter of moments, all my passengers, my family, they were fast asleep in the car. And we were getting on the highway, traveling the 45 minutes down the 101 back to our home. Full-time RV family. Now I got to tell you, as we're driving down the freeway, I'm starting to fall asleep. I'm not paying attention. My reflexes are shit. And somewhere along the line on that dark road, I fell asleep. Or maybe I passed out. I don't really recall. I don't know how much time went by, but it felt like slow motion. One moment I was seeing the road. The next moment, there was nothing until our car hit the rumble strips on the side of the freeway. And we start veering off into the median, into the gravel. The steering wheel is starting to jerk my hands. Everybody else is asleep. In an instant, I popped up, freaked the fuck out, pulled the car back onto the freeway, still doing 70, 75 miles an hour. Luckily, there was nobody around us. In that moment, I don't know what it was, but it snapped the drunkenness out of me. I looked in the rearview mirror and I saw my kids. I saw my girlfriend next to me, and I saw a longer stretch of highway on the way home. In this moment, I was full on sweating, head to toe, beads running down my face. I was in sheer panic of what the fuck just happened. Now, mind you, time was standing still in that very second. I don't even think the car was moving. That's how fast it happened. And all I could see in my thoughts was, oh my God, I just probably could have made the biggest mistake of my life. See, I could have ran into that guardrail. We could have crashed, flipped over, or I could have actually crashed into another car that was driving right next to us. We all could have perished. I don't know. Luckily, none of that happened. But when I got home, I took my kids and I put them into bed and tucked them in. And then in the clubhouse that we have, there's a restroom off to the side. I went there and I sat on the ground and I literally cried for about 2 to 3 hours. What in the hell am I doing with myself? I just started a brand new job 4 or 5 months ago, deep in debt, living off credit cards, personal loans. I have no retirement. I have no savings. Shoot, we don't even have life insurance policies. We have none of that. What would have happened if I crashed? Everything would have been gone in an instant. If I survived, or if anyone survived, most definitely I'd be in jail. Where's my family going to be? Who's going to take care of them? Where are they going to get the money? And I started to look around, not just at my family and the problems that I would have had. I started looking at the associations that I had. What was I doing? Who was I interacting with? What was the state of mind of the people around me? Now, these people, they're all good. They're living their own lives, but they're doing it in a way that's where they're at in their life. And for some reason, I hitched my life into their behaviors, and they became my behaviors. And pretty soon, that was my life. But I wasn't happy. I was depressed. I was dark. I was asshole to people. I didn't know how to manage money. Literally, everything was just falling apart. It felt like every single day I went to work, I was just getting farther in debt, even though I was making the most money I'd ever made up to this point in my entire life. And you know what? In those 2 to 3 hours, as I sat on the bathroom floor, crying and drying my tears, beating myself up inside, I said, you know what? There's a better life out there. It's literally right in front of me. And in that very moment, I don't know what time it was, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I got up, I went inside our RV, and I kissed each one of my family members. They probably don't even know because they're asleep. And I said, you know what? When I wake up tomorrow, which is really in like 3 or 4 hours, still drunk, life's going to change. I'm going to change. I have to. I passed out. About 3, 4 hours later, I woke up to the sun, still drunk, smelled like piss and beer and whatever. It's awful. I said, I'm done. I'm done drinking. I got to shape up my life. I literally went through our entire place, took every bottle of alcohol in the trash. I broke out a diary. I started writing out what my goals are. Where am I today? What am I going to do to get to where I got to get to tomorrow? I put a list down, something I hadn't done for years. Remember, I had very little aspirations other than just working and partying with everybody around me, raising my kids haphazardly. It's in bad shape. And then I started joining different associations, and I started to find people that were doing things or living the lives that I wanted to live. Now, I knew I wasn't going to go from dead broke, depressed alcoholic to millionaire overnight. That's still in the works. And I'm not going to be able to go from here and just jump into an organization like this when I don't have anything to contribute. So I started small. I started figuring out what are the people local that I could join and see what they're doing, different leaders that are successful, whether if it's in business or athletics or whatever the case is. And I started to communicate with those people. I started to build different friendships outside of the small circle that I had before, where everybody was into partying and living and just living for the weekend. I mean, like I said earlier, in my thoughts, one of my top items on my weekly to-do list was figuring out what bottle of alcohol, how much to bring to a party at a future date. What type of goal and aspiration is that? Well, that's what addiction happens, right? That's what really happens to you. Now, fast forward a few months, I went back to the family parties, but I didn't drink. Yeah, sure, at first, people made fun of me. Little whispers here, sometimes direct comments, sometimes just putting drinks in front of me, encouraging me to drink only one, right? Not a big deal. I got willpower of steel. I didn't have to participate in that. I'd go to bars to meet friends, to celebrate birthdays and dinners, but I drank water or soda or iced tea. Maybe I didn't drink anything. And then that's when I found a different group in the running community. And then I started running with different people that were really much into fitness. And that was 4.5, 5 years ago. That's what got me into a better state of mind, was I made that conscious decision. Where I was at in life, how I was behaving, the associations I had, the way that I was even thinking, I knew I had to change. And that's exactly what I did. Now, mind you, this has taken 4 to 5 years of progress, day in and day out. It was tough. It still is. It's not going to get any easier, but you know what? I'm not going to fall back over here. And you know why? Because I lived through it. I've been there multiple times. I didn't like the person I was. A lot of people didn't like me either. But you know what? I love who I am now. I love what I'm building. I love the associations, the families, the goals we have up on the board behind us. That's what we're talking about. That's how things move forward. And you know what? If it wasn't for that decision and that event where we crossed those rumble strips and scared the fuck out of me, I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of you telling you about it and telling you we're going to be bringing on different people that may have different types of scenarios that they're going through and adversities. We're going to hear what strategies that they use and the techniques that they use to get out of that old self and into the self where they're thriving and living life and enjoying a fulfilled life. Now, that's my story for today. I want to close just with these things. If you're in a position where you're struggling, doesn't matter what it is, financially, relationship, addiction, reach out to someone. Pick up the phone. The first thing you could do is get clear on what the problem is and then identify where you want to go. We're all not happy at some times in our lives, right? It could be right now, it could be 5 years ago. But the reality is you're one decision away from making a change for a better life and a better you. I challenge you to do so. Get clear on those goals, write out a plan, and just take small action every day. Thanks for tuning in to the Ultra Catalyst podcast. Like I said, my name is Stephen Nosek. We're going to be coming at you every single week. Click the like button below, add a comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you tomorrow.